seeing us.
Mm-hmm.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Viva Cafe con Leche with Margarita and Lori. I am Lori Monaco from Align Yourself, Inc. I am a life coach specializing in transformation and mindfulness practice. I am a speaker. I am a holistic practitioner, and I'm also known as the Badass Buddha. And I am back in my home base of Southern Connecticut.
Hola, buenos días, mi gente. I am La Margarita, a spiritual and creative healing life coach. I am
Tired.
and an artist. No, it's a beautiful morning. It just got finished raining.
Nice.
Yes, it did. I am your gladiator guru coming to you from Tampa, Florida, by way of Bridgeport, Connecticut. So if you're on, let's leave a comment where you're at, like and share, por favor.
Absolutely. Please share. Please share. Spread the love, spread the joy, spread the laughter. Let us know where you're from. Let us know what you're drinking. Show us your picture of your cup, that whole thing. And we already have to do a shout out to Ephra's already on. He said, "Good morning, girls." He couldn't wait. He sent me a picture of himself with his cup of coffee and ready to go. Are you drinking anything different this morning, Margie?
No, today I'm drinking. Oh, yes, I am. I'm drinking La Llave. I fluctuate from Bustelo, Pilon, and La Llave. I haven't been to the Brazilian market to get my Pilau and Curaçao. But yeah, so that's what I'm drinking with my evaporated organic coconut milk. So I enjoy my cup of coffee a whole lot better now. And this is my taza, my favorite one, as you can tell.
I don't know what I'm drinking. We bought some cheap stuff. You thought we would have got something nice in Maine. Totally could not find any local Maine coffee in any of the shops that I was going into. I was very disappointed in that. That was my own fault, though. So I bought, I don't remember, I think it was a Stop and Shop brand. It was a quick brand because we were out of coffee. But I did get a new mug, and I love it. I got it. Isn't it cute?
Life is good. I love it.
And it has the heart on it. And it's a nice color, too. I like the color combination. It's really pretty. So Nana's on. Good morning. She says, "Welcome back from vacation. Thanks. I didn't want to come back, and I wanted to take Margie with me." Ephra says, "Love you." And Ruthie's on. Good morning, Ruthie. Glad you're here from Florida as well.
Buenos dias, everybody. It's a beautiful start to the week. It's election day. I hope everybody voted, right?
It's election day today?
Well, you know, the
mail-in ballots?
Yes.
Oh.
Did anybody?
No. So they're not doing, I don't follow this stuff too often. And my mother usually she follows it all. It's her generation, they have to. So she fills me in on stuff. So they're not having physical elections at all, or they are having physical elections?
I have to really investigate that. I'm really having a hard time finding us on Facebook for some reason so that I can start a watch party.
Oh, I found us. We're on there. We're definitely on.
I don't see it. I see you're live, but I don't see where I can do a watch party like I normally do. So excuse me with that. You talk about coffee today. You talk about the passions and...
I'm not as good as you. You're so much more colorful when you speak.
Talk about the passions, how it makes you feel. Oh, I got it. Oh, jeez.
Well, okay, so I'll talk about, for instance, so when I was on vacation, it was so nice to just walk out to the beach, and I got up really early Thursday morning, and I watched the sunset, and it was it Thursday morning? I think it was Thursday morning, and it was just nice. No, I don't remember what day it was now. I feel like it wasn't Thursday because it was our broadcast was that morning, but it was either Thursday or Friday morning, and I got up early and I watched the sunset, and it was just absolutely spectacular, and it was so nice to just have a cup of coffee and sit there and have that alone time. And it was, it added to it. You know, it was nice enough to just be sitting on the beach watching sunrise. Did I say sunset? I think I meant sunrise. And then, but to sit there like with your cup of coffee, it was chilly. So it was like the hot cup of coffee was like absolutely perfect.
But those pictures that you took, that's something you need to post. Have you posted them?
I know, and I don't know why I didn't post while I was away. It was so weird. It was I kept like having really weird phone service, and we're lucky we were able to do the broadcast that we did, because then I went to do my Thursday night broadcast, and it ended up, I had too many technical difficulties and I had to bag that. So that was a little disappointing. But yeah, I don't know why I didn't post it, but I will definitely post it. It's just going to make me want to be there.
It looked like, you know, when somebody does a photo shoot of a fake sunset, that's how beautiful that sunrise was. It was like
yes.
in yellow, beautiful, vibrant.
Yes. And not bad for the camera, not bad for my iPhone.
It's, you know, when photos of those intimate moments, because that had to have been an intimate moment for you, are captured like that, those are miracles.
Yes, I agree with you.
They're miracles that need to be shared, because sometimes people just need to believe in something beautiful, and that beautiful things do happen. So don't sleep your life away. You know, get out there and catch that sunset every now, the sunrise. See, I love sunsets every now and again. And because they're magic. They put that extra pep in your step, like my morning cup of coffee.
Well, and I think what's so beautiful about watching the sunrise or even watching the sunset, that it happens every single day. Like it's a given. You know, like you could always say that you can't really have expectations because you never know how things are going to be, but the sun will rise every day and the sun sets every single day, whether you see it or not, because like literally the next day it was overcast in the morning and you couldn't see the sun coming up. So I was glad that I went out when I did, but you know that behind the clouds it's there. And to me, that's really reaffirming that no matter what your day is gonna, you know, what your day was yesterday, that the next day it's a new day. And even though it's the same and it might look a little different if there's clouds, it's like the sun still comes up. Whether you see it or not, you just have to decide whether or not you're going to choose to see it. Or, you know, if the clouds are not there, then really notice it. And that's what I think was so magical for me. It was 5:45 in the morning, and I wasn't the only one out there. There were so many other people out there doing exactly what I was doing, just sitting there, enjoying the sunrise. There were people playing with their dogs on the beach. There were just people just walking in general, and it was just really spectacular to just see it come up. So anyway.
It is. And you know, but I mean, with everything going on in the world, with everything going on in our lives, I think people need to take the time to, what's the word? I want to say self-care, but that's just so overused nowadays. That you need to take the time to surprise yourself. And in doing that, you have to treat yourself to the wonders of God and the beauty that can't be imitated anywhere, and be a part of that. Like the day rising, like rise with the day and actually watch the sun wake up, you know. And to me, that's just, it is magical. It's a magical, it's a miracle that we all should witness more often in our lives than the bullshit chaos that it's going to happen regardless.
That's right.
At least you can handle it better.
Yes, I agree. And let's do some shout outs too. I keep having a lot of people come on. So good morning, Tiffany Bryan's on. She said, good morning, ladies. Editza's on. Good morning, Editza. Diane Claudio is watching. Good morning, Diane.
Hi, Diane. That's Lillian's sister.
Oh, hey, Diane. And Zafar Ali is watching. So good morning, everyone. How about on your end? Who do you have?
I have Diane and I have Nancy Green. Good morning, buenos dias, and welcome.
Okay, so this is going to be a really fun conversation today. We first put this together. Margie and I were talking, and we decided we wanted to do a show about assholes, and originally we said big dicks. So, by the way, just to give you forewarning that the conversation is going to get a little, I don't know, the peppery. And so make sure that the kids, once again, are not in earshot, because this is not a great conversation. But it's not going to be a bad conversation. We're not going to be throwing F-bombs out there and stuff like that. But then we changed it to be about douchebags and assholes, because they're actually more similar. And when we were doing the research for this yesterday, we were laughing so hard, because as we're finding all these things out, it was just like, we thought this was like a perfect conversation, because, I mean, let's face it, we know the world is loaded with them. The world is loaded with douchebags and a-holes. And, you know, maybe you're one, I don't know, but you know, it's, I don't know. Do you think it's, I feel like it's almost becoming more epidemic. I think there are more and more of them out there. It's almost like the pandemic. It's like we have the COVID pandemic. I think that we have an a-hole and D-bag pandemic. What do you guys think? Do you think that's about right, Margie? What do you say?
I think I believe that I think we can, reading through it and what we researched, I think we all have a little bit of
tendency.
Yeah, we
Of
care
course.
about that. I think it's becoming such a full-blown acceptance in society today, because nobody's checking anybody.
Right.
You know, either you have the overly sensitive or you have the assholes.
Yes.
So then the one stuck in between, sometimes you're gonna either be like labeled weak or pathetic because you let people get all over you. But then it's like you're in the middle, not wanting to be this or that. So what are you? And I just say, just be yourself, because
Yes.
there's an asshole in every one of us.
Yeah.
You know, there's gonna come something that's gonna bring it out, and you're gonna be like, oh my God, I didn't say it like that, but the person needed. Sometimes the delivery of whatever you have to say has to come with that extra punch, you know?
And so what we're going to be talking about today mostly are the people who are like absolutely dedicated douchebags and a-holes. Like that they're dedicated. Like some of them are actually even proud to admit it. Maybe not. I don't think most people admit that they're douchebags, but some people will proudly admit that they are a-holes. And again, you know, Margie and I talk about being authentic self. So listen, if you are a self-proclaimed a-hole, be proud of it, I guess, and because you're being authentic. It's, I think, the hardest part is when individuals behave a certain way and they don't own up to it, you know. But not that I condone being like an a-hole, because being an a-hole is just, well, it's annoying to deal with people like that. So that's what we're going to talk about today as well. We're going to talk about, the questions are, you know, we all know them. So we're going to define them. We're going to talk about how do you know, who do you know that's close to you? Not that you need to name names, but we all have them around us. Why do we keep them around? Maybe it's not on purpose. And how do we manage them? And then maybe self-reflection. Are you one? You know, are you one full-fledged, or do you have the tendencies? Again, like Margie said, we do have the tendencies. And then we're also going to talk about the comparison to a-holes, douchebags, and narcissists, because there's an awful lot of narcissists out there, and many of them are actually this category. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting conversation. We hope you all have very great commentary to add to this, because this could be a really interesting show, but it could also be very funny too, right? Shout outs to Frank is on. Good morning, Frank.
Good morning, Frankie.
Char Maria is on. Good morning, ladies. She said, need to hear this conversation. Good. We're glad you're here, Char Maria. And Ruben's on. Hey, Ruben, what's up? He's coming from Florida as well. So let's get started. So let's define douchebags and assholes. Okay. So here's what I came up with, and we were having a good time with this, because I think, right, Margie, as I was reading off what I was finding online, were you putting people in your head as I'm reading these off? Like, as I'm reading the descriptions off, are you thinking of people that
that's why I said it. Some of them I was like, wait a minute, that's me. You know, there's certain of them that like was like, ooh, I do that, or I can act that way, or you know, or I can see how people can perceive me that way.
Yeah,
You know
we
what I
did
mean?
talk about that yesterday.
'Cause some people just will label you an asshole because you're standing up for yourself.
Yeah,
So,
or you're saying something, you're being honest with them about who they are, and then they get mad at you and they call you an a-hole. Right, exactly. And see, that's not, I don't think that's warranted. I mean, like I said, you could be at that moment in time, but if you're saying something that they don't want to hear, that's on them. You know, especially if they ask you. That's the worst part, is when they ask your opinion and you say it, and then they get you say you're an asshole.
true.
Okay, so let's talk about douchebags first. Okay, so the term douchebag generally refers to a male with a certain combination of obnoxious characteristics related to attitude, social ineptitude, public behavior, or outward presentation. So the common douchebag, I love the way this is written. This is from the Urban Dictionary, by the way, which has the most fabulous definitions of stuff. The common douchebag thinks he is accepted by the people around him. Most of his peers dislike him. He has an inflated sense of self-worth, compounded by a lack of social grace and self-awareness. He behaves inappropriately in public, yet is completely ignorant to how pathetic he appears to others. He often talks about how cool, successful, and popular he is, yet never catches on to the fact that he comes across as a total loser. Nevertheless, he firmly believes that he is the smartest, most desirable, and most charming person in the room, and will try to bad rep anyone who would threaten to expose his facade. He fancies himself as a ladies' man, yet tends to be a joke to all but the most naive of women. He tries to portray himself as part of the in crowd, a fashionista, an upwardly mobile professional, the life of the party, etc., but only it succeeds in his own mind. So he's a legend in his own mind. To everyone else, he is an annoying and arrogant phony who comes across as a wannabe, overcompensating for his insecurities. He tries to appear like the center of whatever group will tolerate him, but in reality, he is just a tag-along who mooches drinks, women, contacts, social standing, and other benefits from the group while contributing nothing. So that's the definition of a douchebag. I actually have one very close. I'm related to one very close. I have a very close relative that completely describes. Yeah, you know what? It is. Yes, it is, right? It is tend to describe men more so. I don't think I've ever called a woman or referred to a woman or heard that term used for a woman before. I guess it's applicable, right? I guess if, you know, but the thing that really instills it in me is the mooching part. Tag along mooch, has no idea that anybody sees right through them, kind of deal. And I think that's the part that gets me annoyed with people who are douchebags. How about you? You know anybody?
Yes. Yes. And you know what the funny part is, they behave that way, the ones I know. And then if you don't invite them, or if you like tell them, you know, you got to do something, they get offended. They get, you know, they're like, I can't believe, but it's like they don't contribute anything. They like suck the life out of your big toe just by breathing your ear.
Yes.
And then, but then the thing is that sometimes, like you say, they're so close in the family tree that you don't know how to just do away with them. So you're stuck. And some days you can tolerate it with no problem. Then there's other days you're like, you go off on them.
Yes.
Or you pull into
right
the driveway
there.
and you see that they're there and you back up. I want to hear my song one more time. And you go. So it's like, yeah, it's an everyday life thing. I mean, and can you imagine if you have one at home and then you have to go to work and you supervise this one? It's ridiculous. Your life is just, you know what? Just move away.
Yes. And you know, the funny thing with douchebags are not really mean per se. They don't come across like a-holes, which we're going to describe in a moment, are much meaner individuals. But douchebags are just, they're annoying. And like Margie, you said it perfectly. They suck the life out of you. like from your big toe, like they just pull it right down. And it's like, I know for me, and it's so funny that you said about pull it into the driveway and there's the car there. I feel for me when I'm around people like that, that I completely change. Like I have to be very on point. I have to be very self-aware of my own self changing when I'm around these people, because it's just, you're here and then all of a sudden you see the person, you're like, oh, oh God, so-and-so's here. And it's just like, oh my God, like I gotta just, for me, it's just to avoid those individuals, because then I don't have to deal with them. Because for me especially, and I know you're the same way, Mark, because you and I are both so self-aware, we're also so aware of our surroundings, that it's so much easier to see through these individuals, that you see that fakeness, you see that BS. And it's hard to watch, especially when they interact with other people. When they're interacting with other people and it's like I'm watching a movie, and I'm going, oh my God, what is wrong with these other people that they cannot see this? How do they not notice this? So the one thing it says, tends to be.
But why is that? Wait, but why is that? Why do we feel that other people don't see it? Did they learn to tune them out?
No, I think some people, that's what I was going to say. I was referencing the definition that it makes it sound like everybody knows when the person's a douchebag. But I think you have to be around the person enough to start to realize that. So when it's newer people, they don't see it. What they see is that facade of that individual. And even pick it up and go, oh my God, that person's such a douchebag. Really? I thought he was just great. And it's like, no, because they're not around them enough until they're around them to they learn. Right? Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
Nanette said, there's one country that there's a douchebag leading the country. She's funny.
Yeah. But yeah. Okay, go ahead, because we still got the other one to do.
Okay, so let me read assholes, because then you're going to start talking about narcissists as well. Okay, so definition of an asshole, again from the Urban Dictionary. A person who is intentionally cruel, obnoxious, and heartless. Assholes are most often male, and I will disagree with that, because they are most often male, I think, but I've seen plenty of women. A female who follows these traits is referred to as a bitch. Assholes can take any form. Knowing this allows you to spot assholes at any time or any place. I love that remark. Be warned that an asshole is not synonymous for douchebag. A genuine asshole is the lethal combination of intelligence and arrogance. Assholes will attempt to humiliate you, and unfortunately, they generally succeed due to their intelligence. Douchebags, on the other hand, consist of only arrogance. They only think they are smart. Douchebags do not know they are douchebags because of their extreme egotistic tendencies. However, the asshole will always know they are an asshole. I love that.
And be okay with it.
Though the appearance of assholes does not follow a stereotype behavior itself does, and assholes tend to enjoy nothing more than being an asshole, smirk a lot, argue for the sake of arguing, laugh when they win an argument, never let you hear the end of the argument they won, or participate in arguments they know they are not going to win, not stop arguing until you give up because there's no point in arguing anymore even though you know you won, associate your giving up with their victory, point out every flaw your argument has regardless of the subject. All the asshole cares about is making people look stupid, physically and mentally push you around to get under your skin, ambiguously answer your questions, and deny that they are assholes out loud. They know they are, but they'll deny it if somebody calls them out on it most of the time. Some are proud about it. I've met some people that are quite proud about it. I used to work with a guy that was he wasn't my boss, but he was a supervisor for somebody else, like another group. And he was, like his name could have been next to the picture, in the definition of the Urban Dictionary, his picture could have been next to the word asshole because he really
Yeah, I know a few people that take pride in being that, but it's deflecting any emotions that they don't want. and the people that I know that are assholes, it's because they have a lot of unresolved issues within. My son, so he'll deflect anything personal and be an asshole. You know, and you know, he has that dry wit that if you're not strong enough comes out to be offensive. But that's his way to tell you, I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, so you're saying there's an insecurity there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's just certain subjects that bring him to the emotional instability where he doesn't want to let you know how it's still affecting him. So yeah. So but he wears that proudly. Yes, he says yes.
It's a deflecting thing, because you're right. If there's any type of weakness within that individual, they don't want anybody to know that, so they're going to deflect it and throw right back at you. So I've seen that happen numerous times. I've dealt with assholes, is where you're saying something and you bring something up to them, and they immediately come right back and attack you. They completely change the subject, and they get you sometimes, if you're not prepared for it. They get you so spun out of control that you don't even remember what you were talking about, and the next thing you know, you're defending yourself, which is like a very key element to asshole behavior. So that's why it's going to be really important to talk about how we manage douchebags and assholes, or really not so much manage them, but manage ourselves, because that's going to be the real conversation.
Well, I find I call them out on it, and then if they want to blow steam out their ass and walk away, I'm okay with it.
But that's because you're a tough cookie. You're a tough lady.
So it's like, that's your issue, not mine. So yeah, and that's how I've always dealt with it. So there's certain places that now I do it all the time. So it's, you know, and you'll look at them and you're like, I'm not taking that. If I'm not going to chew that, bitch, I'm not swallowing it. So take you and yours and get away. So yeah, that's how do you handle it? You got to stand firm. If you're approaching an asshole on something that they said, a certain behavior, then you already know what you're up against. So
yes.
Keep your, put your armor on. So when they come back at you with, their deflection that might be harsh, just don't let it move you. If you sway like the branches of a tree, that's fine, but be the trunk and the roots. Don't let it move you. Stand your ground. Why did you approach them in the first place? Or why did you call them out on their bullshit in the first place? You got to see it through. If your feelings get hurt, if your heart gets wounded, you see it through, then you go and you handle your feelings and emotions. But how else are you going to, if you're constantly avoiding assholes that are in like your immediate family? One, what are you teaching them? If it's your immediate family, then you got to do something. You got to call them. At least you be the one to call them out on it. Because when they go out into the world, they're going to meet the wrong person. So, like I said, my son's 30 years old. He's still an asshole. But, at least he's an asshole with those he's comfortable with, unless he has to go off on somebody. But he's Robert's nothing like Tiff, where he'll smile like, all right, I got you, which means I'm gonna give you your space, don't do it again, type of thing. He's more passive that way. But there's those that are like in your face and you have to hurt their feelings. Remember that's just the affront. An asshole is just a front, like to avoid reality, I think. What do you think? From the ones I know, that's like, yeah, they build up this thing in their mind of everything you explained about an asshole, but they're really so fragile that when you do come at them and call them out on their stuff, that's why they attack you. Because what their only ammunition are the words that they come out with, but they're really they just need a hug.
Well, I don't know about that with all of them. I wouldn't want to hug some of them. I wouldn't want that energy on me. But you know what though? When you dealing with a douchebag versus an asshole, so douchebags are they're idiots, really. And you are
idiot savants.
So Ephraim put manage yourself. shout out to Lucia Ramirez and Mary Jo.
Oh, my cousins are and Carmen Grandiva's on.
And Carlos Gordon. So Efra's correct. Manage yourself. So here's the thing with douchebags, you have to know that they aren't that smart. And so you can, if you confront them head on, this is the difference with a douchebag. If you confront them head on and you are very grounded, like Margie's saying, and you know exactly what you want to say, you will be able to get to them. Now, is that going to change them? No, because that's who they are, and they have to make the choice to change that. But they will know where they stand with you if you confront a douchebag head on. With an asshole, the unfortunate thing about an asshole is you have to speak asshole. That's the only thing that assholes only understand asshole. So it's like you have to literally speak that language. And know that there probably will be a time where you cannot win the argument. But if, like, you know how it said, I thought it was really interesting. It said they smirk a lot. And when you start giving that back to them, they will understand that you know what they are. So, and that right there is the piece that will get to them after a while. You could let them win the argument. You could even say that, you know what, I'm just going to stop talking right now. You're right. You're right. And when you say something like that to an a-hole, that pisses them off. They're like, they start going back and doing, no, you are absolutely right. I'm just going to be quiet now because you're the man.
Yeah, that's the best way to deal with an asshole. And that's what, you know, and you said something that's very key. They have to choose to want to change because, you know, but, yeah, if you have to, if you're going to say something, say it, and then don't argue, walk away, let them marinate on that shit. See, a lot of people want to keep arguing the point. No, call them out on what they said, call them out on what they said or did, and then just say, I'm done, and walk away. One, they're going to start fuming because you're not giving them the space.
And they're going to follow you.
That they believe. And two, what you're going to say probably like stuck on them or slip. But once you walk away and you stop the argument, they're going to be upset. But then it's going to marinate. Your words are still there. And sometimes that's more helpful. Be Elvis and exit the building when you say what the fuck you got to say to an asshole, because that's the language they understand.
Yes.
You know, and Ephraim's right. It's about us. So if your energy goes haywire when this certain person is around, whether it's a family or a close friend, then guess what? Limit your space around them and let them know, I really don't want to be around you. Your attitude does nothing for my spirit. And then don't be around them, because that's also another way of stepping in to have them acknowledge their behavior, and then they can weigh their choices of whether they want to change it or not.
And they will definitely change it with you. Because when you say statements like that, like I've actually said to family members, I don't like you. I mean, I don't like your choices. I don't like the person that you are, and I have no purpose for you. And I know it sounds harsh when you're talking, especially like family members, but when you become self-aware, and you ground yourself, like I love the example you gave about grounding yourself like the roots of a tree. When you really decide to step into yourself and know who you are and know what you like and what you don't like and what you want in your life and what you don't want, the D-bags and A-holes come out like out of the woodwork, and it becomes really clear, like you're like, oh my God, I don't like that person. But we hesitate because we say, but they're family or they're friends of mine. And it's like, how can I say that about people that, you know, that are related to, or, you know, you can. It's like, you can't. Think about it this way. We get to pick our friends. We don't get to pick family members. But if you were able to pick them as friends, would you have picked them as a friend? And I got to say that I have, you know, like I said, close family members that I'd be like, yeah, I wouldn't be friends with you, because I see right through them. And I know who I am very clearly. And I choose not to speak a-hole. Like I choose not to speak asshole. If I have to be around people like that and they're starting with me, I will say that to them. Say, well, you know what? I don't speak asshole, so I'm out of here. And they can take it whatever way they want, because that's the thing. Assholes will will always be arrogant about it and say, well, I don't need that person. The heck with you. And they will twist the story. So it doesn't even matter what you say to them. They will always change the story to always reflect who they are and be right. So they'll tell everybody else complete lies. Douchebags, on the other hand, have a little bit of remorse. They have a little bit of guilt, mixed in there, where they might feel a little bit guilty. They might feel a little bit bad. They might not say things out loud to other people. But I've seen both. They go back and forth between the two. Margie, what do you think? Like I have family members that mostly do that, but can be a-holes, and they kind of flutter back and forth for these moments. I think they're just so arrogant about it that they're like they don't care. But then deep down, it's like they're such wusses that they can't, like they don't even know who they are. I think that's the best part about this is when you deal with somebody who's a douchebag or an asshole, they don't really know who they are. Like they are wannabes, right? I think that's what it said in here too. Like they believe that they want to be this person, but they are so afraid to be their authentic selves. Right?
Yeah, that's what the bottom line is. That's why it's a deflection. And that's why sometimes I'll be like, you want a hug? If you don't want a hug, then get the hell out my way because you're aggravating me. And this is my good space and you're tarnishing it. I say that here, like with my niece or something, or my daughters. Whenever anybody's like, I'm like, listen, take that shit somewhere else.
Right.
Because I don't need that energy. But a shout out, Carmen, Grand Diva. She said, good morning. I'm Nancy Green. When you were reading the assholes, she said, okay, my daughter's like that. Hello to Stephanie Nieves, my beautiful freckle face. My sis Maria Garcia, thank you for being on. And Nancy Harding says, good morning, ladies. Good morning, Nancy Harding. Your book went out in the mail.
So Ephra says he has a question, not defending anyone, but do you believe this is just a male way of being? I don't know.
No.
I mean, you're not one, Ephra. So how does, I don't, it could be, I guess there could be a social stigma associated with it because right, you had said that in the beginning, Margie, you were saying about how sometimes it's being tough, so it's a-holes, it's associated with being tough, like a tough exterior. So, and to be more so than females, I suppose. But I still think it's a choice. It's there's a difference between you saying your reality, your truth, and even being honest with people, and then being accused of being an a-hole, because that's what Margie and I were talking about yesterday, that she sometimes is called that, or even I'm called that, because you're saying something to somebody that they don't want to hear, That's not the same as actually the characteristics of being a full-time asshole, right? And douchebag for sure not. I don't think that's a male. I don't think so. I think that's totally insecure.
No, and Ephraim, just like Nancy just said, Nancy, I was just about to say that when Lori finished speaking. So Nancy and I agree that insecure men are the assholes.
Right. Exactly.
Because it's like they're just waiting for somebody to call them out on their shit, so they try to jump ahead of it and be that. So there's a lot of characteristics that go into being an asshole, and I think it's so exhausting. I think if these men just figure out who the hell they are and they were born to be and who they needed to grow into, the facade would be just like so less time consuming for them. And instead of pushing people away because they don't want to be known as a fraud because they don't know who they are, their tribe would be that much more beautiful. And I think that goes for all of us. If we just, and just whatever, start with one insecurity and build it and go out and find out what's your favorite color. What's your favorite tree? There's several of them, go out and see what type of shoe are you really. Like there's so many little things to find out, up to jewelry. Like, what do I like to wear? What defines me? There's so many women that put on clothes that just because it's in your size don't mean you can wear it type of deal, because they don't know who they are. So I think men are like that too. They feel that men are supposed to be simple. No, men should tweeze their eyebrows, and men should get pedicures, and men's nails should be manicured and put that clear coat over it. I love that in a man. You know, men think, oh, they're gonna label them as gay. No, just do you. Find out who you are. I think the bottom line in all of this is, who the fuck are you? And wake up to it.
And be nice and be respectful. I think that's the other piece too, is that assholes, more so than douchebags, are just, they're not nice. They're not respectful. They feel that they take a it's their personal thing in life to just be straight and not nice and mean people, and just sit, and we society tend to accept it. We just let them be that way. Like, somebody will say something and you walk away and go, God, that person's such an asshole, rather than actually just saying it to them and saying, wow, are you okay? Like, you know how many times I've met people like in public, whether they're like just like a worker of some sort, where you had to like have an interaction with them and they're so rude and so disrespectful. And I've wanted so badly to say, are you having a bad day, or are you always an asshole? Because you're being right now. But we don't call them out enough. And I think that's part of the problem. I think it's just that we've accepted it. We accepted that people are rude and this is the way they are. And, oh, that's just, how about this? How many times have we said, that's just the way he is, or that's just the way she is? The hell with that. Like, if it's interfering with my life, like if it's interfering with me being me, and they're annoying me just because they're being rude, why do I have to be accepting of that? I mean, I can walk away at some point because I know clearly who I am, and I'll just, but why not call them out on it? Say, really, like, do you know you're being that way, or are you purposefully being that way? Because and you can use the D word. You can use you're a dick, because that's like the ultimate, like that's the ultimate a-hole when you use that.
Yes, but even within the stores, when those cashiers and everything aren't smiling, you know, they have to wear their name tag. So I'm like, hey, Mary, how you doing today? Let's smile. Do you know if you smile, it helps the muscles in your face, it releases endorphins, and guess what? The rest of your day will be good. Have a good day now. And then they'd smile at me like, bitch, but they're smiling, you know? So I think even if you don't have to use any type of words, but just say, is this how you're going to be all day? This doesn't work for me. What's going on? I think call them out, because sometimes there's so many things. Sometimes they're just assholes. Sometimes they're just rude, and they're insensitive, and they have no empathy for nothing or no one around them except themselves. Sometimes they're so self-centered, but then sometimes it's because that's their defense mechanism. And I know people like that, but I still call them out on it, because I don't need to carry their burdens while they're with me.
No, that's exactly right. Again, it's because they're allowed to be there. We have tons of them. They're allowed to be there. Like, people don't say anything, and it's not, some people do. It's not saying that nobody does. It's just that the people that count don't say anything. They allow that behavior instead of like really giving them a rough time. There's a point where if you say it over and over again, they will get so sick of hearing it. They will either decide to change or they will pull away, you know, like, seriously. But I see it in my family. I see it where there's certain people that are allowed to behave that way. They continue to behave that way, and everybody just grumbles to the side, but nobody calls them out on it. And when you do, and I was that person for a long time of not calling somebody out on it because I didn't like confrontation. But then once I realized again, like, what I want and don't want in my life, I call these individuals out on it, and they avoid me because they know I know who they are, and they can, especially the douchebags. The assholes usually don't care, but the douchebags, they don't want anybody to know who they really are. So they avoid the people that know, because they don't want you to call them out in front of like a crowd, you know. Efra says, I have completely different opinion, but one day you could have a male's perspective about this subject. He says, well, share it. What's your opinion about it? You know, I didn't even think about that. It would have been a good subject matter to discuss with
Yeah. Nancy says that where she's discovered that with her daughter, it's a defense mechanism. Her daughter being the asshole. With my son, Nancy, when I call him out and I know that I hit a nerve with him, because he won't call me for like 2 days, 3 days, and I'm totally okay with it. Because I didn't do nothing wrong. And I don't carry nobody's guilt. Shit, I got enough of my own. So if I call him out on something, all right. And then, you know, I won't hear from him from a couple days. And then he'll call back and then we'll talk about it. Because he knows I'm not going to let up on it. But I think if you love somebody, especially if it's that close to your family, then you need to have this conversation. You need to call them out on it. And maybe they're going to change today or maybe 10 years from now, but still be that seed. Plant that seed. Carmen Grand Diva says that her mom does that to cashiers too and tells them that it makes people look prettier when you smile. So I think, when Ephraim comes in, I think different people have different characteristics. I said, an asshole and a narcissist, I have some of the qualities in it.
Define narcissist, and Ephra, if you want, type in, if you don't mind, like just a little bit of what your opinion is, because that would be really helpful.
A narcissist, how much time we got?
We got time.
It's a personality disorder. It involves a pattern of self-centered, arrogant thinking and behavior, a lack of empathy and consideration for other people, and an excess need for admiration. Others often describe a narcissist as cocky, manipulative, selfish, patronizing, and demanding. This way of thinking and behavior surfaces in every area of the narcissist's life. You know anybody like that?
I do.
Okay. From work and friendships to family and love relations, narcissists are extremely resistant to changing their behavior, even when it's causing them problems. It's a tendency to turn the blame on others. Is that familiar? Anybody knows anybody like this? Can a narcissist love? Because that was one of the things I wanted to find out. Because a lot of people say, well, I was with the narcissist and he broke me and we had this and we had that. A narcissist falls apart when others stop seeing how perfect they are, because it's like they need to be a perfectionist. So they devalue the relationship as a way to cope, often withholding from emotional intimacy. And so someone who is a narcissist can seem incapable of love, but it's their fear paralyzing them that once you know how they, and when I read that, I thought of that quote that they say is to never meet your hero. Because sometimes we idolize somebody and we make them our hero, but they're just a regular person like us. If it's a female, guess what? She's gonna bleed once a month just like us, you know? And they take their pants off the same way we do. So it like oh my God, like the reality of it. And then they have characteristics. They can be a douchebag or an asshole or a narcissist. So then it just shatters our image of them. So I think that's what happens with the narcissist. They can love you. They can probably love you deeper, more profound than anyone you'll ever meet. You'll just never know it because they're not going to show it to you.
Well, they can show it to you. It's just that it's always by their standards.
Exactly. So then you're not showing it to me. I'm never going to know the depth of it.
They love themselves more. That's the difference with narcissists. They always love themselves more. Because
it says the 4 types of narcissism is the leadership authority one. Number 2 is superiority and arrogance. Number 3 is the self-absorption and self-admiration narcissist. And then the 4th one is the exploitiveness and the entitlement. So can a narcissist change? The truth is everyone is capable of change. You just got to want it. But there was something here. Signs and symptoms of a narcissist is the grandiose sense of self-importance, lives in a fantasy world that supports their delusions of grandeur.
Yes.
Needs constant praise and admiration.
That's exhausting.
Has a sense of excitement. Exploits others without guilt or shame.
Yes.
and frequently demeans, intimidates, bullies, or belittles others. So a narcissist personality involves a pattern. I read that one, right? There was something else I had to read. Oh, just 10 signs of a narcissist in case you want to know. Lacking empathy, conversation hogger, me. That's why I said I have like some of the traits. I just want to talk. You got to tell me, shut the fuck up sometimes, right? My husband was perfect at that. Self-importance, false image projection, a rule breaker. They think they are above us normal people. I've met those. They strive for perfection. They're charming, so they'll cast you into their web. Manipulation, a desire for control, and they are experts at blaming you.
Oh yeah, it's never their fault.
Yeah, never their
fault. They always make excuses for everything, and it's never their fault. Yes.
It's very sad. So what they suggest if you're dealing with a narcissist is don't fall for the fantasy. So your needs won't be met if you fall in love with it. If you fall in love with them, a narcissist, and you know you're in it, stop being stupid and get the hell out, because your needs will never be met, and you can't change nobody. This delusion that we women have, that we see the potential in the man. We know, I feel your greatness. Let me help you bring it out, and then they're constantly
exhausting.
It is
exhausting,
and they look at you like you're pathetic.
Do not fix anybody. No. Fix yourself.
Because your needs won't be met. So take off the rose-colored glasses, because you can't change nobody. You can't fix nobody. Make a plan. Look at how they treat others. That's who the true person that you're seeing. Take the glasses off, and then you can see how they really are, because they always say it's how they treat others. Focus on your own dreams. Consider a gentle approach to yourself, and don't set a boundary unless you're willing to keep it. So don't keep telling narcissists, if you don't stop doing this, I'm gonna leave, and then you don't leave, and then he's gonna treat you worse, because the attack level is going all the way down.
Lillian's on. Good morning, Lillian. And she said,
good morning, Lillian.
You just described my ex-daughter-in-law. That's what she said.
Yeah. So don't fall for the fantasy. I know too many women who want to change people. Sometimes, you know what? We're not God. We're not. We cannot change people just because if we feel we can love them enough, or we can stop what we're doing and be home enough and cook all his favorite food. You cannot. You cannot. A douchebag, an asshole, a narcissist, they have to want to change on their own. All you can do is plant the little seeds and then walk the fuck away until they bloom on their own. Because see, there's people who want to be the gardener and all of it. They want to plant the seed. They want to water it daily. They want to cut the leaves off that are burnt. No, you can't be all that.
No, especially not with a narcissist. The narcissist is actually a mental disorder. They don't change. They don't. And a narcissist will always attract an enabler. A personality type,
a codependent woman,
like Margie's saying, is that somebody that wants to fix, because they're so insecure that they would rather fix other people. And narcissists love those people because they get to do whatever they want. Narcissist is like an asshole on steroids. It is beyond, like an asshole is an individual who just been entitled for a while, and they just have an arrogance about them, and they can change, but they have to want to change. Narcissists, a little bit more complicated. It's a mental disorder, and most of the time they can't change.
They won't change. So what you got to do, the women in the lives of these assholes and narcissists, stop thinking, take off your cape, because you're not Captain Save-A-Hole.
And get the hell out. Get out.
Yeah. Yep. Take off the cape. Be your own super fucking hero. Don't try to save anybody else, especially if they don't want to. If they're telling you, I'm fine, you're the problem because you're trying to fix me and I don't need to be fixed. I'm not broke. They're telling you. Believe them. Their truth is very transparent when they talk to you like that. Right, Lori?
Yes. Yeah. And listen, narcissism is not just, I mean, again, it's almost like we're seemingly saying that douchebags, assholes, narcissists are males.
No, they're not.
There's, especially narcissists can be females as well. So it is, again, you can have a friend that's that way. Doesn't even have to be a significant other. It could be a friend. And again, it's just about recognizing who you are, knowing your truth, what you want, what you don't want in your life, and then taking off those rose-colored glasses and having your eyes wide open and looking, being aware of your surroundings and who's in there and what they're doing and and if they're manipulating you. And you know, it's always a good idea too to really individuals, like really close friends that you know really have your back, because they're always honest with you. They're the ones that always notice all this. They notice exactly the relationship that you're in. They see it on the outside. They usually see quite well through the other person, and they will give you the advice. Might not be what you want to hear, but if you are willing to just listen, and because if you're not happy, I mean, there's no way that you could stay happy if you are with a douchebag, an asshole, or a narcissist. You can't. You're miserable. If you think you're happy, it's because you keep saying that, because for those moments where it's nice, you're like, I can do, it's great. It's like everything means everything. But for all the rest of those times when the person is so miserable and manipulative towards you, that you do it at that moment, looking for those moments where it's the little pieces of food they throw out to you every so often.
Yeah, the crumbs. You're not a crumb catcher. I want to say hello to my sister Connie. Hey, Connie.
Good morning, Karina.
I think that whether it's your friend, your family, your significant other, I think we started off, Lori, and thank you for bringing that back. It's not about your partner. We don't strictly talk about partnerships or your soulmate or whatever you think this person is. It's just the characteristics of a person you might know that might be a close relation in your life, maybe a significant other. I just think that for those women who struggle, I'm going to speak from a woman's perspective. Men, if you're out there, get over it. I think the women who stay in those relationships or stay friends with those types of people or continue to join every single family party there is, knowing this asshole and narcissist is going to be there, are also insecure. They need to do a lot of work from within. They need to stand their ground and stand up for themselves. And sometimes, you know, we weren't born to be a doormat for everybody that walks through our lives. We were born with a purpose. We were born, God breathed life into each one of us for a purpose here in this universe. And when we stay stagnant in relationships that do not serve us, that do not feed our spirits, that do not nourish our brains, then what are you doing? You're being a doormat. I don't care if it's your brother, your cousin, your uncle, your father, your lover, your husband. I don't care who it is. I think that as women, you got to put your big girl panties on and you have to stand tall for who you are. And if you don't know exactly who you are, then you need to inquire within. If you need assistance, call Lori and I, because that's what we're here for. But you need to recognize who the hell you are in your now and be fully present to grow into a full and rich individual that you were born to be. So those narcissists and those assholes, they were here before you. They're going to surely thrive after you. So don't be a part of it.
Yeah, just don't have them in your life. And men, it's the same way. Listen, men, if you have females in your life that are that way, the same goes for all of you guys. It's life's too short. You know, if you're listening to this saying, gosh, I know, you know, my significant other's like that, or my, you know, whatever, then redirect, you know, just, you know, discover yourself and decide what's best for you, because it's like life is, we deserve to be happy, and we deserve to live the life that we deserve to have, not the other person's life. You're not living somebody else's life. You're not there to please that other individual. And so first things first is, whenever you're dealing with douchebags or assholes, start calling them out on it. You know, start being brave enough to say something to them and walk away when you feel like it's ready, you know, you're ready to do that. I don't care who it is, friends, family members, significant others.
Doesn't matter.
Public.
Doesn't matter. and you said something too, we deserve it, right? We deserve, that's what you said, we deserve to be happy, but you got to work for that too. You know, people blame their pain and sorrows and lack of on love. Love has nothing to do with it. Love is love, point blank, period. The same way you go to work every day and probably a job you hate to earn that paycheck to pay your bills, that's the same way you got to work at deserving your place in this world, in your life. You got to work for it. It's not going to be handed. So if you're dealing with a narcissist who feels they deserve everything and then take it, and then you're feeling that, yo, I don't know what to do, I deserve to be happy, why don't you make me happy? Then, you know, you both need to be at separate sides of the world right now, because you're chaotic and you're just like traumatized. You're traumatizing me with your bullshit. So you don't need to be together. So what it is, you know what? Work at it. If you deserve, if you feel you deserve to be happy and have everything that life has to offer, then put the big girl panties on and go work for it and earn that shit. Because like a narcissist feels that he deserves for it to be handed to him. No.
Or she.
Inquire within, find out who you are, what you like, what you don't want, what you will tolerate. You got to do that basic inventory. It's basic. Okay.
And it's time for us to end. So thanks so much for staying on for the extra few minutes. Really appreciate it. I hope we hope that you enjoy the topic, because it's a really important topic, because it's about you. It's not about them. It's about you becoming amazingly strong and moving past and not wasting your life on individuals, because these individuals are a waste of your time. So on Thursday, our conversation is going to be on transparency. Is transparency truth? While transparency is often talked about in the business realm, we're going to talk about transparency not just in business, but we're going to be talking about transparency within our own personal lives. So is transparency truth? And our guest, did she get back to you? Is she going to be?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't checked this morning.
Okay, so we still are putting together our guest.
Yes, but hopefully she will be. But I just want to piggyback on something you said about, this is about you. It's not about them. They're going to be who they are. But like with Nancy Green, your daughter's young. My son, I started when he was young. So like I said, when I call him out on his stuff, he won't call me for 2 or 3 days, but then he calls me and then he wants to talk about it. So there's some people that, you know, not because he's my son, I'm not being biased. What I'm saying is sometimes when you catch him young, because this has been a pattern with us. So he understands. When he knows he's being like raging out of control with his asshole isms, he'll call me, and that's when I call him out on his stuff, because he needs to be checked, right? So, I mean, pick and choose who you want to give your energy, but for the most part, they will only change if they want to.
Yeah,
not by
like
you
anybody.
crying, begging,
Right.
pleading, threatening to move out. None of that's going to work on them.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly. All right, everybody. So we'll see you on Thursday. Thanks for coming on today. Make sure you share. Make sure you send us your coffee pictures, your coffee cup pictures. And
Please do.
remember, be you, be real, and be extraordinary. And Margie?
Breathe in the beauty and breathe out the bullshit. Namaste, mi gente. See you all on
Everybody.
Thursday.